everyone. Today's Wednesday and it is the first day of Passover. Passover lasts 8 days, and another word for Passover is the Festival of Freedom. And what that means was the Israelites escaped Egypt because people were not treating them nicely. And I have some food to celebrate Passover with you. And I have a great story about a little girl named Miriam who ate too many matzah crackers that her belly hurt. And I want to show you what a matzah cracker looks like. So matzah crackers come in all sorts of boxes. This is actually from a bakery in New Jersey where I got my matzah crackers. And a matzah cracker looks like this. It's nice and flat, it's crispy, it's toasty, and what makes it flat is it doesn't have any yeast, so it doesn't rise in the oven like a piece of bread will rise. Or here's a bagel that rose because it has yeast. That's what's missing out of a delicious matzah cracker. So what I want you to do right now before I start the story is press pause, run to your kitchen, go try to find some nice crackers that we can enjoy, and we are going to eat together while I read this story about Passover to you. Hi everyone, welcome back. I hope you have a great snack to enjoy where we read this great story called A Sweet Passover. Miriam loves celebrating Passover at Grandma and Grandpa's house. She loved pinning a piece of lace to her hair just like Grandma did before she lit 2 tall candles and sang a special blessing to start off the Seder. She loved walking around the table with a towel draped over her arm while Mommy poured water from a white pitcher over everybody's hands. She joyfully sang the 4 questions in Hebrew and then listened as Grandpa read the questions from the Haggadah and told the story of the Jews' exodus from Egypt in his deep, booming voice. She giggled at the way her daddy said, "Warm, warm, hot," as she got closer and closer to finding the afikomen that he had hidden after he broke the middle matzah in half and tucked one of the pieces between 2 of Grandma's cookbooks high on a kitchen shelf. And what the afikomen is, families just take a piece of matzah cracker and they hide it through the house, and all the children run around and try to find it. The first person that finds the matzah cracker gets a prize. Maybe you can do that with your family today. Miriam also stood happily outside with her Aunt Rachel and Uncle Nathan, and they opened the front door to welcome Elijah the prophet. Miriam loved everything about Passover, but most of all, she loved eating that matzah. And during the 8-day festival, she ate as much as the unleavened bread as she could. On the first day, she ate matzah with butter. On the second day, with her grandpa, it was matzah with jelly. On the third day, it was matzah with tuna salad. And on the 4th day, it was matzah with egg salad. And on the 5th day, it was matzah with cream cheese. And on the 6th day, it was matzah with cottage cheese. All that matzah. And on that 7th day, Miriam just ate lots and lots of matzah all by herself. She ate it with almond butter. She ate it with apple butter. She ate it with blueberry jam. And she definitely ate it with some strawberry jam. Matzah, matzah, matzah. She ate it plain. She ate it with egg. She ate it with whole wheat. And she even ate chocolate-covered matzah crackers. All week long, Miriam ate nothing but matzah, matzah, matzah. But when she woke up on that last day of Passover, Miriam was sick of all that matzah. All she wanted for breakfast was a nice thick slice of warm toast or a chewy bagel or a blueberry muffin. But Passover wasn't over, and she couldn't have anything with yeast in it yet. She had to wait all day long before she could eat any of those fun items. "Miriam," Grandpa called from downstairs, "it's time for breakfast." "Ugh," Miriam groaned, and she pulled the blankets over her head. "Miriam," Grandpa called again. "I'm not hungry," Miriam called back. "Are you sure?" "I'm making French toast. I'm coming." And Miriam jumped out of bed, dressed herself, and ran all the way down the stairs. And there was Grandpa with his apron tied around his waist, with a big chef's hat on top of his head. "Good morning, my beautiful girl," Grandpa gave Miriam a hug and a kiss. "Are you ready for some French toast?" Miriam looked at the counter where Grandpa had placed the eggs, the milk, the butter, and the frying pan. "But where's the bread?" she asked. "Bread? I can't use bread. It's still Passover," Grandpa reminded her, "and that's why I'm using the matzah." "Matzah," Miriam moaned. "How can you make French toast with matzah?" "I'm making Passover French toast. I'm making matzah brie." "Matzah brie, yuck!" And Miriam folded her arms. "I'm never eating matzah again." "Never? That's too bad," Grandpa said. "You don't know what you're missing." And he began to cook. First, Grandpa crumbled up the matzah and he soaked it in warm water. Then he cracked some eggs into a bowl. He added a little milk and he beat the mixture with a fork. He drained the matzah and poured the beaten eggs and milk over it. And finally, Grandpa sliced some butter into that great big frying pan. As soon as the butter began to sizzle, he poured in the matzah brie. When it was brown at the edges, he slipped his hands into a pair of oven mitts, placed a large plate on top of the frying pan, and flipped the whole thing over. "Ta-da!" cheered Grandpa. "Passover French toast! Doesn't it look delicious?" And here I have some Passover French toast for you that Grandpa made for us. "Oh," but Miriam said, "no more matzah for me." "Suit yourself," Grandpa said, "but will you please set the table?" Miriam took out the special Passover plates and put one on each place. Just as she set down the last fork and spoon, her mom and dad and Aunt Rachel and Uncle Nathan and Grandma all came into the dining room. Mommy spooned some applesauce on top of her matzah brie, and here's that matzah French toast with some applesauce. Her dad put maple syrup all over his. Aunt Rachel sprinkled hers with some sugar and some cinnamon. And Uncle Nathan smothered his with sour cream. Grandpa added salt and pepper to his matzah brie, and Grandma left hers plain. Eat in good health and enjoy was the family blessing. "Oh, this is so good," said Grandma. "This is the best I've ever had," said Mommy. "May I please have seconds?" asked Uncle Nathan. "Save another piece for me," said Aunt Rachel. "My compliments to the chef," said Daddy. They were so busy eating that no one noticed that Miriam had nothing on her plate. Soon breakfast was over and all was quiet, and then a large rumble came out of Miriam's belly. "Miriam, didn't you get enough to eat?" Mommy asked. "No," Miriam answered. "Miriam is never eating matzah again," Grandpa announced to everyone. Mommy and Daddy and Aunt Rachel and Uncle Nathan and Grandma all gasped and said, "Never?" "Not even on Passover?" asked Mommy. "But Miriam, we always eat matzah on Passover. How else do we remember that our ancestors were slaves in Egypt, and when Pharaoh granted them freedom, they had to leave in such a rush they couldn't even wait for the bread dough to rise? How else will we remember that even the plainest food eaten in freedom tastes sweeter than any fancy food eaten in slavery?" Daddy asked. That's what we say. Have a sweet Passover. Matzah is such a simple food. It reminds us to be humble, explained Uncle Nathan. It doesn't puff itself up, and we shouldn't puff ourselves out either. It's a mitzvah to eat matzah, a good deed. And just as the matzah was baked in a hurry, we should always be in a hurry to do something nice whenever we can. Matzah goes with everything, Grandpa said, and that reminds us that we should also get along with everyone too. And if all those reasons weren't enough, your grandfather happens to make the best matzah brie in the world. Miriam looked around the table at each member of her family and thought over what everyone had said. And then she asked, Grandpa, will you please make me the matzah brie? I'm sorry, Miriam, said Grandpa, patting his big round belly. I am too full to cook. Please, Grandpa, said Miriam. Pretty please with applesauce on top. No, said Grandpa. I'm not going to make you matzah brie. Well, why not? Asked Miriam. Because, said Grandpa, handing her an apron and a chef's hat, we're going to make the matzah brie together. And Miriam crumbled up the matzah, beat the eggs while Grandpa melted butter in the frying pan. Miriam poured the uncooked matzah brie into the pan and watched as Grandpa fried it up. When the matzah brie was ready, Grandpa set a great big piece in front of Miriam. Eat in good health and enjoy. And Miriam did just that. And this is Miriam's matzah brie, or otherwise known as some French toast with applesauce. I hope you enjoyed the story of Passover, and if you can remember to do something nice for someone, that would be wonderful. Have a good day.